All right, welcome everybody to the Health Transformation webinar. This is your co-host, Cade Archibald, and along with me, we got the one and only, the amazing founder of East West Health, Regan Archibald. Regan, how's it going?
Good to have everyone on, and happy Thanksgiving. I got a special hat that my team got for me today. Misha made
nice.
That, so
you guys are dressed for the
Here
occasion and everything. Well done. Well done. I feel like I need to make a hat now.
Turkey Day, even though I don't eat turkey. Yeah, nothing like a good old hat.
All right. Well, we're excited. Today, we're jumping into some really cool stuff to help us through the holidays and keeping our energy up, keeping our body in more of a fat burning state, especially while we eat loads of food.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's good, clean food, but there's also some hacks if it's not so clean. So let's dive in. I'm excited to go over this.
Okay, well, this thing kind of causes my forehead to itch, so
yeah,
hopefully you guys feel it. And hat's coming off.
Yeah, we got the vibe.
You got the vibe. Okay, so Cade's like, you look like a fool. I can't concentrate. That's the truth. You can say it. So if you look at the holidays, I mean, two things we're going to cover today. One is I want to show you how crazy stress is and how really important this hormone called cortisol is and melatonin. And then the other thing we're going to do is, if you stick around for about 20 minutes, we're going to be talking about these amazing Black Friday specials. So if you are looking to transform your energy levels, if you're looking for reversal in autoimmunity, getting your knee injected, if you've been considering getting any stem cell services from us, or if you have family members who are considering it, or if you want family members on one of our functional medicine wellness programs to reverse diabetes, neuropathy, brain fog, all those things, then stick around, because we are going to be talking about some very cool things we're doing for all of you as our gift in a way that we show Thanksgiving to you. And we'll be sharing that with you today. So, all right, so let's jump in. So cortisol and melatonin. If you think about cortisol is your stress hormone. And it is such a powerful hormone because it's the hormone that goes and surveys the landscape to see if there's damage in your body. Because a lot of you have, we wake up in the morning and we've just slept all night long and we've released what's called growth hormone. And growth hormone is actually where you burn fat. And it's also where you rebuild tissue structures that have had inflammation in them. And then first thing in the morning when we wake up, our cortisol levels spike, because what the cortisol is doing is getting rid of all the debris. And it's surveying the land, making sure we're ready to start the day. And then as the day goes on, our cortisol levels spike about 30 minutes after we wake up. And then they slowly start to drop. And then by around 11 or 12, they kind of plateau and go through kind of a flat cycle. And then melatonin rises up, and then melatonin is what makes you fall asleep. And melatonin secretion starts, for most of us, when the sun goes down, 6 or 7 o'clock. And then it reaches its peak around 9, 10 o'clock at night. And so these circadian rhythms are very critical for your overall health. And unfortunately, in our society today, we have all these lights, we watch TV at night, or we're on our computer and we're working at night because we have a 24-hour access to work, we have a 24-hour access to food. And so our circadian rhythms have gotten completely turned upside down. And so one of the things I'm going to talk to you about today is how you can shift your cortisol and balance your cortisol so it's not dominating your life, but also what some of the major symptoms are of too much cortisol. So hopefully everyone understands the circadian rhythm just a little bit. And I've had other videos on this, so look on our YouTube on circadian rhythm, circadian cycles. One of my favorite books is called The Circadian Code by Sachin Panda. So if you look at cortisol is your long-term stress hormone. Epinephrine is our short-term stress hormone. So, Cade, you know what adrenaline is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What does adrenaline feel like when you have a little shot of adrenaline? What's that like?
Um, Man, how do you just like, woo?
Yeah. Yeah. Like all of a
Just
sudden you just kind
exciting
of
and just kind of
almost,
like, oh, you're like pumped up. You take on the world. Uh-oh. Reagan, you stroked out.
yeah. Yeah, you can do just about anything you want to do when you've got nice little secretion of epinephrine and adrenaline. And so this is really critical because if you think about it, you have two platforms in your adrenal glands. You've got your adrenal medulla and you've got the adrenal cortex. And so each one of those parts of your adrenal glands are secreting either cortisol or epinephrine and norepinephrine. And the way I want you guys to test the health of your adrenal glands and to see if you actually have enough epinephrine and adrenaline is just put your head down and just let it rest below your heart. And if you're driving and listening to this, then please don't do this exercise. But if you're sitting and you can put your head between your legs and then stand up very quickly and see if the room starts to spin. If things start to spin or if you feel a little dizzy, then you don't have enough epinephrine because epinephrine regulates your blood pressure. And so it's a key component in your overall health. If you've ever walked up the stairs and you get to the top of the stairs and you're just totally winded, there's a good chance you've got some adrenal issues. So your cortisol and epinephrine aren't balanced, because if you have a long-term stress signal, if your cortisol levels are out of balance, you're going to have an issue with secretion of epinephrine and norepinephrine. And that's where little things can just trigger you and throw you off. So cortisol also works with your memory patterns. So how many of you can think of something in your past that really stresses you out, even though it may have happened years ago or months ago or days ago, but you think about that memory or what happened and you get that, you suddenly feel stressed. Even though that situation's not, that stress is something that is triggered because you have these little receptors in your brain for cortisol, and cortisol works with the adrenaline and epinephrine of short-term memories, so that you can, it stores these short-term memories of threats, and then it's a survival mechanism. So if you have this threat that repeats itself again and again, to be aware of it. Because if you didn't have any memory of things that were stressful, you would constantly, smash your finger in a door, or you would, put your hand on a hot stove, for example. But because we have these receptors for stress hormones, our bodies are pretty good at knowing how not to hurt ourselves. But unfortunately, when we have emotional stress, even though those triggers are long gone, we can still get the same response from those. And there's actually been research. There's an article published by the journal Nature, and what they found is that even having cortisol secretion from stress, is they found it caused hippocampal dysfunction, balance, poor coordination, muscle atrophy.
Hey, Reagan,
you're determined that stress is one of the quickest ways that you can age yourself.
Hey man, you're cutting out quite a bit. Now we can't hear you at all. Okay, I think you're back. Your Wi-Fi may be a little bit off today.
Oh man. Okay. All right, you guys good now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Just give me the sign if it's going down.
All right.
Okay, so hopefully it's working well in the Instagram world over here. Long-term exposures of cortisol damage hippocampus. And the other thing that cortisol does is it inhibits memory retrieval. So if you've ever noticed that when you're stressed, your memory starts to go down, that's a big sign that you've got poor balance in your adrenal glands, poor balance in your cortisol. And so this is something that, you want to be looking at in your body. The other thing that you'll find is cortisol is a major age accelerating hormone. This is the hormone out of all the hormones. If it's not balanced, you'll get old fast. And so one of the things that you want to do is you want to make sure that your cortisol is balanced, because it will weaken your immune function. The other thing it does is it reduces bone formation through calcium absorption, because the adrenal glands sit right on top of your kidneys. And so they're regulating the potassium and calcium and sodium ratios in your body. The other thing is if you have cortisol that's out of balance, you'll have a loss of cartilage and collagen. Collagen supports the tendons, the ligaments, the muscles. And then the other thing is cortisol interacts with insulin, because anytime cortisol gets secreted into your blood, what happens is your liver pushes sugar into the blood, and then that sugar is followed by an insulin response. But what cortisol does is it tells insulin to go away, because Cade's stressed right now, my internet's not working, he's stressed, and so his adrenals are just releasing cortisol, and then cortisol is telling insulin to go away because the sugar needs to be in the blood so that it can be used as energy, because Cade's getting ready to run from a tiger. Cade, are you getting ready to run from a tiger, though?
No.
No tigers in St. George.
No, that would be some intense adrenaline.
That would be, and that's sometimes we have stress that is literally that intense. So this is one of the things that happens is when we have sugar that's just floating in our bloodstream and it's not taken into the cells to be used as energy, it just gets converted into fatty acid. And that fatty acid just gets stored somewhere. Usually it's around the organs and the belly. So that's where you get belly fat. The other thing that happens is if your liver is getting too fatigued from pushing sugar into the blood, then what happens is your cortisol will start taking proteins from your butt and from your legs. So it'll break down the muscles. And you could literally get like sore muscles from being stressed, and you'll have the ass-knot syndrome. And that is a medical term that you can look up, but ass-knot means that all the glute muscles start getting broken down so that your cortisol is that hungry, it wants to break the proteins into sugars. So a very interesting condition that you can have, because cortisol is a steroid hormone. Many of you have been put on glucocorticoid steroids, or hydrocortisone is kind of that's the pharmaceutical term for it. But what happens is when you're on the hydrocortisone, it will increase blood sugar, the same way cortisol increases blood sugar. And it leads to gluconeogenesis, which is a fancy word for it causes your liver to create more glucose. And it also causes your proteins to be broken down to become sugar. So something you want to, once again, very critical to keep your cortisol balanced. Follow that circadian rhythm we talked about earlier. So just some simple tips you can put into your life. Cade, when do most people drink coffee?
Typically,
unless you're in the morning, right? Wake up, I'm going to have a cup of coffee. Well, if you're going to drink coffee, then at least give yourself a few hours. I have patients who wake up at 4 a.m. and guzzle a gallon of coffee, and then they have a second cup by 6, and then a third cup by 9, and then they wonder why they're tired all day. Well, it's because, your cortisol, you want it to be in peak secretion after you wake up. But when you drink coffee is actually a nice little stimulant for cortisol, because cortisol, those metabolites from caffeine and from some of the theobromine substances in coffee, it actually helps produce some healthy release of epinephrine and norepinephrine if you have healthy adrenal glands, and if you add some fats or amino acids to your coffee. But try to push your coffee back. This is one of the things you can do so you're not pushing your cortisol too high, because if you spike it too high, once again, that's where you start breaking down in function, because your cortisol just gets hungry for energy because your body's in this stress response. Your body is also less insulin sensitive. So that means don't eat sugar in the morning or carbohydrates. Save your carbohydrates for later on in the day. The other thing that I like to do, because cortisol is involved in transporting the potassium out of the cells in exchange for sodium, high cortisol can cause electrolyte balance. So one of the things you can do to balance that out is wake up in the morning. You're already about a glass of water dehydrated, and put a pinch of sea salts in your water with some lemon or lime, and that will just help give your cortisol a nice little boost. And it also helps with hydration, because then you can get fluid into the cells, so that takes off some of the burden of the kidneys. And remember, the adrenals, it's called adrenals. So kidneys are called your renals, and so adrenals is on top of the kidneys, is what cortisol, or what adrenal glands, that's why they're called adrenal glands. So the other thing you can do in the morning is just wake up and exercise in the sun, just 30 minutes of cardio conditioning. And some of the best exercises you can do is save more of your cardio, where you can actually have a conversation with somebody, where you get your heart rate up and maybe around 140, 150, but you're not going crazy, but you're just like really you're pushing it for about 30 minutes in a cardio, and then maybe do your strength training in the afternoon. That's when your body is actually. So these are just little things you want to do. Getting out in the sun first thing in the morning. Back on. Thanks, Cade. Getting out in the sun the first 30 minutes is amazing, because when your eyes can see that the sun's come up, you've got these melatonin receptors in your eyes, and then suddenly it just wakes your brain up. And you can also use the Valky. These are blue lights and a little device where you can shine blue lights into your ears. But these are just some very simple things that you can do to get your body to wake up and get your body to really start feeling refreshed. And so hopefully everybody, two takeaways. Cade, what would you say two big takeaways were from cortisol today?
I think biggest one, wait to drink your coffee. Let your cortisol really hit its peak, and then start to drop before you do that, so you don't exhaust it.
Yep.
And then the other one, 30 minutes of exercise, get out in the sun. I love that. It's a beautiful thing. And it's nice with the holidays. Hopefully it's a little bit more, you don't have to be somewhere right in the morning. So you can kind of go and take some time and have some mindfulness around that, and not have to be to work or be, obviously there's always family activities, but hopefully you got some time for yourself, and you set some good boundaries.
Absolutely. So this is very exciting, because, balancing your cortisol can be one of the greatest ways you can feel awesome, but this is how you can stay in the game for the long run. And so I would certainly recommend that you guys look at your lifestyle. And that the other thing that you want to do is breathe often, because when you've got too much stress in your body, when you've got your brain is racing, you'll notice your breath just becomes very shallow. And so just take a couple deep breaths right now and exhale, and just get in your body. And so one of the things that we promised you at the beginning of this webinar is we said, you know what, we're going to show you some ways that you can make next year absolutely your healthiest year yet. And so we're going to talk about our Healthy Self program, and we're going to talk to you about a couple special offers we've got for Black Friday. So if you guys are like, well, I don't want to hear about this, and I just want to learn about cortisol, no problem. But if you actually want to learn how you can work with us and really maximize your health, and we've got a special gift for you, then stay tuned, stick around, because we're going to talk about this gift of health. And so one of the things that we've done is we've put together these wellness membership programs, and it's called Your Healthy Self. And Cade, why do we call it Your Healthy Self?
So it's a little bit of a play on words, because if you look at it, it also says heal thyself. but it's your healthy self. Just some places will call like healthcare like a maintenance. We don't look at it as maintenance because you're continuing to work on your health, and I think health is like a continuous journey. If you ever get to that point where you're like, oh, I'm as healthy as I want to be, then that's probably when you're going to experience problems, is when you become complacent with your health. And so it's just continually having some really good ways of working and learning and educating yourself on your body and how you can improve it.
Yep. And so our Healthy Self programs, or Heal Thyself, is designed around you having an opportunity to get all the major services at East West. So that's where you get your functional medicine. We do lab reviews, your functional medicine consultations with the absolute best doctors on the planet, are all at East West. And this is for all of our clinics, including Albuquerque, and we got Oahu coming in. And for those of you who are out of state, if you live out of state, you can still do this. It's just going to, obviously we can't do acupuncture over the internet, unfortunately, but this will be an opportunity for you to really transform your life. So what we have is you get 12 months of a program with us. And over the course of the 12 months, you get a certain amount of health coaching, a certain amount of acupuncture, you get vitamin injections, and then you have 10% off any herbs and supplements. And then on stem cell therapy, you have a discount on any stem cell therapy services that you've got. And so that is an incredible savings for you. The other thing that we're doing is when you get started by December 20th on the Healthy Self program, you get 1 free month. So that means you're going to get a free month of care just when you sign up by December 20th. And so what is included is you'll get a free copy of my book, Your Healthy Self. If you've already got that one, we'll give you another one. You get $500 off any regenerative medicine program. And so this is also something you can do in and of itself. If you are thinking about getting stem cell therapy or you've already had it, right now is the absolute best time to purchase your stem cells. Even if you want to put a deposit down, we can hold the price for you. That's something that's there. And then the other thing, the Healthy Self program, I mean, imagine if you had your labs ran and you had a team that actually could look at your labs and do that for a fraction of the cost, but also tell you meaningful insights about your health so that you can get better metabolism. You'll learn how to balance your cortisol. You'll understand how your thyroid's functioning. So what does your metabolism look like? And we'll also see how your liver and kidneys are functioning, because those two organs directly relate to your brain health. So I said December 20th. I meant December 2nd, is our deadline on this.
Yeah, so Cyber Monday so it's got to be purchased by then.
Okay.
So I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, I just noticed that. So yes, by December 2nd for Cyber Monday, this is where you can save $500 off any regenerative medicine program that's been recommended, or if you want to do like an exosome treatment, because a lot of you have heard me talk about exosomes will boost your stem cells by a magnitude of 10. And we've just seen amazing outcomes when we've done the stem cells, and then we add the exosomes on top of that. Exosomes are little vesicles that go in there and just multiply what your stem cells are doing. So if you've had stem cells in the last year and you want to protect your investment, this is a great way to protect your investment. If you look at the Healthy Self program, this is our monthly membership program. It's a wellness program, and the cost for this is $159 a month. So I think any of us, if you just looked at how could I budget for $159 a month? Well, first of all, you're getting 13 months instead of 12. The other thing you look at is, well, you could, maybe eat out less. You could get more creative and ride your bike instead of drive. I've been doing that this year, and I love riding my bike. It's snowing today, so I drove my truck. There's ways that you can bundle some of your insurance programs together. I mean, there's so many different things you can do, but in this program, the vitamin injections alone are worth a month of care. The 10% off your herbs and supplements, that could be another month of care. The discount on stem cell therapy and regenerative medicine, that's an $1,800 value. And so that would
That's actually on a per unit basis.
Per unit basis of 900, which is crazy. So, so yeah, it's a great opportunity. Okay, so how many of you would actually are looking at creating a better year for 2020? You want to be healthier, you want to feel more solid, you want to feel like the best version of yourself. Well, we have a great opportunity for you to come work with our team here at East West. And so, Cade, what's the best way they could actually take action on this?
So best way is either you can reach out to our office. That's one way. Or we do have additional information on our website about this particular program. And I just posted that on the chat box, so you guys can look at that. You can go there. It's going to be very similar to this flyer, and you can actually just you can call our office. So call our Salt Lake office is 801-582-2011, and I'm going to put that in the chat box as well. For St. George, it is 435-773-7790. And I don't have Park City and Albuquerque memorized yet. PC, what is it? It's 435-640.
640-1353. Yep. So call any one of our offices, or even if you are not sure which office, just get on our website, ACU East West, and tell them about the special. Let them know you heard this from Regan and Cade, and we can help you get set up immediately. So love to make this 2020 your absolute perfect year for health. I want to be sitting with you next year and want you to feel amazing. This is actually not for people who don't make health their priority, because we want to work as a team with you. It's not for people who don't like learning. It's not for you if you don't love good energy, and if you don't want to put on some, change your physique over the year. It's not for you if you don't like learning and having great memory. So, but this is for those of you who really are looking for a health transformation. So really appreciate you all, and can't thank you enough for being part of our community, and appreciate the love that you guys bring. I mean, we've had so many so thanks, you guys. So thank you.
All right.
Doing this with me every week. It's really fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Regan. And thank you guys for joining us today. Have a wonderful, amazing Thanksgiving. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place. Happy holidays, and love you all. We'll see y'all.